This video, an educational version of the Body Test television special, is brought to you by the Canadian Dietetic Association. The Body Test video is sponsored by the Ontario Milk Marketing Board. The television program and the National Nutrition Campaign were sponsored by Gristle, makers of Melba Toast, croutons, and breadsticks. Kraft, the good food company. And Weight Watchers, the leading weight loss program.
The Body Test. 20 questions about your body. It'll take you only 20 minutes, and it could add years to your life. Now your hosts for the Body Test, Al Waxman and Diane Buckner.
We've got some good news for you about your body. For the first time in almost half a century, health professionals have got a new and realistic weight range for us, and that means you could be in better shape than you think you are.
But the bad news is that even if you're in great shape right now, you could still be risking your health, perhaps even your life down the line. Your body risk depends on what you think of your body, how you feed it and care for it. So we're going to let you find out if you're at risk.
First thing, forget everything you ever heard about your weight from those life insurance ideal weight charts.
The new body measurement is called the Body Mass Index, or BMI. We'll show you how to calculate it and find your body risk score as well. Here's your first question in the body test. When you look at the size and shape of these models, what do you think? A, this is the way women should look. B, it looks good, but it's unrealistic to expect most women to look like that. C, women should not try to look like these models. We'll give you the scoring for that question in a few minutes.
Our North American ad men, magazine editors and photographers, fashion designers and television producers giving us a distorted and unhealthy view of how our bodies should look? Jean Kilborn, a media analyst from Boston, claims that they are.
You know, if we've got a situation in which something like 80% of women in North America think they're overweight, there's something wrong, you know. And where do we get that kind of image except through the images that surround us in our lives? And I've got a series here that show how extremely thin the models are. And this is, it's shocking by any standards, but it's particularly shocking if you look at some of the photographs of women 20, 30 years ago. This is Jane Russell in a GI pinup pose, and it clearly has a very, you know, voluptuous body. And Marilyn Monroe, of course, the same kind of thing, is, you know, doesn't have a flat stomach, and you know, has some flesh on her upper arms, and it would just be out of the question. If we've got a situation in which, you know, very young girls are dieting, they've gotten that message from somewhere.
60 inches?
The message was based on the ideal of a perfect body. People were pressured to achieve an ideal weight. But now there's a healthy weight range based on a new measurement called the Body Mass Index, which relates your body mass to health risk. So now, because there's a broad range of healthy weights, it's not just the number on the scale that counts.
All right, I've got it, and I'm not telling.
The BMI doesn't apply to children or teenagers because their bodies are changing. Nor does it work for senior citizens, muscular athletes, I guess that leaves me out, pregnant or nursing women.
Here's the formula for calculating your body mass index. Your BMI equals your weight in kilograms divided by your height in meters squared. Don't be intimidated. We'll take you through it step by step. The metric formula is the most accurate way to calculate BMI, but this graph in pounds and inches is a shortcut. All I do is find my height on the bottom line, 5'7", find my weight on the middle line, 130 pounds, then put a straight line through them to get my BMI on the top line. So my BMI is between 20 and 21.
We'll give you 30 seconds to calculate your BMI, and then we'll tell you what it all means.
Step right up to the TV and draw that imaginary straight line from your height on the bottom line through your weight on the middle line, right up to the top line for your BMI.
So, what is your BMI?
Find your BMI on the right and your score on the left. If your BMI is 15, score 10 points. If it's 16, score 8 points, and so on. Now that you have your score, this is what it means. A BMI of 20 to 25 is in the healthy range. If you're below 20, you get demerit points. But if your BMI is 18 or 19 and you've been that size for years, you may be okay, providing you're eating properly.
If your BMI is between 25 and 27, you're probably heavier than you should be, but you're still healthy.
If you're over 27, you have to lose weight to lead a healthy life.
The BMI range is based on disease and death statistics. So your chances of becoming ill or dying are higher if your weight is above or below the healthy range.
So, now that you know your BMI, let's show you how you measure up against the models you saw a few minutes ago.
They're all below the healthy range. So for question 1, score 2 demerit points if you chose A, that's the way women should look. If you chose B, it looks good but unrealistic, score 1 point, and 0 points for saying women shouldn't try to look like models.
Question 2 was your BMI, so here's question 3. Which of these 3 men do you think has a healthy weight? A, only one of them. B, 2 of them. C, all 3 of them. They're all healthy, so score 2 points if you said only one of them was. If you guessed 2 of them were healthy, score 1 point. And 0 if you said they were all healthy.
Now let's meet some ladies. Which of these 3 women do you think has a healthy weight? Only one of them, 2 of them, or all 3 of them?
Once again, all have a healthy weight, so score yourself the same way you did for the men. So we've come a long way since Twiggy. 20 years ago, we accepted this flat-chested 17-year-old Londoner as the high-styled goddess of fashion. They called her Twiggy. This was the perfect body. But this perfect body had no curves. And women should have curves if they want a healthy waist-hip ratio. Stand by to measure yours.
Waist is 1/3 of the way from the bottom of the breastbone to the line of the navel. Hips are 2 inches from the top of the pelvic bone. Okay, here it is. Diane Buckner's waist is 26 inches, and her hips measure 37 inches. Now, if I divide her hip measurement into her waist measurement, I get a ratio of...
This is important. Your waist-to-hip ratio is a measure of your fat distribution, and you calculate it by dividing your hips into your waist. To be healthy, we women should have waists that are 20% smaller than our hips, and that's a WHR of 0.8. But I'm sorry, sexual equality is out the window here. A healthy man's waist can be as big as his hips.
You are a 0.7.
That's not bad.
That's good.
You may want to stop the tape to calculate your WHR. Divide your hips into your waist. For question 5, women will score first. If your ratio is 0.8 or less, score 0 points. If it's between 0.9 and 1.2, score 4 points, and 10 points if it's more than 1.2. Men can score 0 if your ratio is 1 or less. If it's between 1.1 and 1.3, score 4 points, and 10 points if it's more than 1.4.
If your mother or father were both obese, you've got an 80% chance of growing up the same shape. If only one of them was, it's only a 40% chance. If your parents were normal size, it's 10 to 1 you won't become obese yourself. Ann Power's mother was obese, and with a BMI of 32, so was Ann. And though she's careful feeding Christina and Colin, she's happy the way she is. Even so, doctors say obesity is a problem. Now here's question 6. Does your family have a history of being very fat? A, no family history of being very fat. B, one parent very fat. C, both parents very fat. If you answered A, score 0 points. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 5 points. Do you feel you should finish all the food on your plate? A, never. B, at some meals. C, at every meal. If you answered A, score 0. B, score 1 point. And if you answered C, score 2 points. If you feel guilty about leaving food on your plate, you'll most likely have a weight problem.
But the experts say most of us who are overweight simply eat too much. Question 8. At a party, do you eat the food that's presented to you even though you're not hungry? A, never. B, sometimes. C, all the time. If you answered A, score 0. B, score 1 point. And if you answered C, score 2 points. Question 9. How often do you weigh yourself? A, more than once a day. B, daily. C, occasionally. If you answered A, score 2 points. B, score 1 point. C, score 0.
Specialists say that since your weight actually goes up and down even in a day, scales can deceive you. Try the pinch-and-inch test of excess body fat. If you can grab more than an inch at your side, then perhaps you ought to grab somebody else's side.
Our quest for the perfect body has taken us in strange directions. Comedian Phyllis Diller ran up a $40,000 surgical bill to reshape her body, a headline story for TV's Robin Leach.
I mean, it's very strange, all these people that are quite happy to have knives and scalpels. As I always joke here, it's, you know, the new regime in this country is knife styles of the rich and famous.
But his show, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, helps perpetuate women's obsession with the unreal ideal. The women they choose to show are always lissom and lovely, whether by nature or by artifice.
We're going to help you assess your attitude towards food. Then we'll get to the truth about your weight control program.
Question 10. Which scene describes how and what you usually eat in the morning? A, nothing at all. B, Danish cake or a donut with icing and sugared coffee. C, a bagel and peanut butter, an orange and a glass of milk. If you answered A, score 7 points. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 0. 1 in every 6 people in this country doesn't start the day with breakfast.
Question 11. We're going to show you 3 scenes of people eating a fast lunch. Which is most typical of you? A, French fries, chicken and batter, and a soft drink. B, a green salad with dressing. C, tomato soup with croutons, whole wheat sandwich with cheese and meat, a glass of milk, and an apple. And an apple. If you answered A, score 7 points. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 0. To lose weight, do you usually use A, a balanced calorie-reduced diet, B, fad diets, C, water pills, laxatives, or diet pills? If you answered A, score 0. B, score 5 points. And if you answered C, score 15 points. A Johns Hopkins University survey says that there are 29,068 theories, treatments, and programs for losing weight, including diet drugs, exercise tapes, diet books, diet meals, and fat farms. That was in 1982, and we suspect a few more have been added since then. Even so, the university says the weight loss industry grosses $11 billion a year. Question 13. When you diet, do you eliminate one or more of the major food groups? Bread to cereals, meat, fish, poultry and alternates, fruits and vegetables, milk and milk products? Do you eliminate them A, all the time, B, sometimes, C, never. If you answered A, score 7 points. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 0. If we're dieting, our bodies still need a variety of nutrients, but fewer calories.
My turn. Question 14. How often do you fast to control your weight? A, 1 day each week or more. B, occasionally. C, never. If you answered A, score 15 points. B, score 5 points. And if you answered C, score 0.
Faced with food, fasting is a feat of willpower, but it's not very healthy, and most often, it's not a very effective way to diet.
Question 15. Do you lose 10 or more pounds in a week and then gain it right back again? A, rarely or never. B, 1 to 3 times a year. C, 4 or more times a year. If you answered A, score 0. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 7.
A lot of concern has been expressed in the past few years about these so-called yo-yo dieters, people who repeatedly go on crash diets and their weight goes down, comes back up again, and go through these weight loss regain cycles. And there's suggestion that some of the complications of being overweight, for example gallstones, are much more common in people who have these yo-yo cycles than in people whose weight remains consistently high.
Needless dieting is causing a growing number of health problems.
More and more we're seeing young people with disturbed eating behavior like anorexia nervosa and bulimia. They're dangerous and potentially fatal disorders.
2 victims, the first a former anorexic.
It gave me a sense of control, and I thought that everybody was jealous of me, and I thought everybody else was a pig. If they ate anything, they were being pigs.
Here are 2 pictures of her at different stages of her eating disorder.
I stuck my fingers down my throat, and then it also comes that just thinking about it is enough to make you sick without even actually using your fingers. I spent a lot of time in washrooms, and I look back now and I don't know how I did.
Nothing mattered. If I lost friends over it, it didn't matter. I had to be thin.
Question 16. How often do you make yourself vomit after eating in order to control your weight? A, more than once a week. B, occasionally. C, never. If you answered A, score 20 points. B, score 10 points. And if you answered C, score 0.
90% of those suffering from eating disorders are women. 95% of those in weight reduction programs are women.
How often do you engage in some kind of physical activity? A, never. B, only when trying to control your weight. C, as part of a regular routine. If you answered A, score 20 points. B, score 10 points. And if you answered C, score 0.
An exercise routine can mean any kind of physical activity, from walking to jogging, playing squash, or working out. But 1 in every 5 people admit they never engage in any physical activity.
Question 18. Which of these best describes your exercise routine? A, more than 2 hours a day of intensive exercise no matter what or not at all. B, every day no matter what. C, at least 3 times a week. If you answered A, score 7 points. B, score 4 points. And if you answered C, score 0.
Question 19. To control your weight, do you exercise with quick fix gadgets, or do you use electrodes or wraps of any kind? A, regularly. B, occasionally. C, never. If you answered A, score 3 points. B, score 1 point. And if you answered C, score 0.
Many women take drastic measures to look like models, even though most models, like Monica Schnarr, are teenagers. Monica is a photographer's favorite here in New York.
The agency won't tell her weight, but she certainly watches it.
You have to watch yourself all the time, but it becomes such a habit, you don't ever think about it. It's not a problem.
You ever go to bed hungry?
Sometimes.
But in any case, the weight limitations of the BMI don't apply to growing teenagers when proper diet is critical. Yet a lot of models are under 20, and they are images of perfection here. 40% of these junior high girls said they're dissatisfied with their figures, and 86% of the boys chose the shape of an underweight girl as the most attractive.
All right, so how many people here have tried to diet?
About half, but it could be worse. In a California study, 80% of the girls had started dieting at 9.
Why did you decide that you should go on a diet?
Because I don't like my, the weight I'm at.
What don't you like about it?
I don't like the way my body looks.
Personally, I don't think Vicky's fat at all. And she's the one that thinks she's fat. And men, guys don't worry about their weight. They just, if they're a bit overweight, it's okay.
Maybe some guys find slim women more attractive than larger women.
Very tactfully put.
I mean, it really bugs me a lot when people say, I'm so fat, when they weigh 105 pounds. I mean, it's unrealistic. I mean, they're not fat. They have a really nice body and figure, and they think they're fat. And it really bugs me because I know a girl, and she was my size, and she thought she was a total blimp. And she went on a diet, and she ate nothing, and she became anorexic, and she almost killed herself. And so it really bugs me when people who are skinny say that they're fat.
Now here's the last question, number 20. Your weight and height have placed you in a BMI range. Is that range A, what you thought it would be, B, a little lower or a little higher than you thought it would be, C, much lower or much higher than you thought it would be? If you answered A, score 0. B, score 3 points. And if you answered C, score 10 points.
Now, add up your points.
Have you got your total score? If you have no more than 25 points, congratulations. You're on the right track. Your attitude towards your body and the way you feed it and move it presents a low risk to your health.
A score between 25 and 50 points is a moderate risk. Not bad, but there's room for improvement.
A score between 50 and 75 means changes are definitely required in your lifestyle and in your attitude towards your body.
A score between 75 and 100 means you're in trouble. You may want to see a doctor and a dietitian about an eating and exercise plan.
A score of over 100 is extremely high risk, and we would definitely recommend you see a doctor and a dietitian, especially if you are fasting or vomiting regularly.
We gave the body test to a studio audience, and the average score was 28. Keep in mind that great bods come in all sizes. To keep yours healthy, balance all the things you eat, eat in the morning, space your eating over the whole day, choose from those 4 major food groups, and keep active.
This video, an educational version of the Body Test television special, was brought to you by the Canadian Dietetic Association. The Body Test video is sponsored by the Ontario Milk Marketing Board. The television program and the National Nutrition Campaign were sponsored by Gristle, makers of Melba-Toast, croutons, and breadsticks. Kraft, the good food company. And Weight Watchers, the leading weight loss program.